Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Jeff Sutich joins us. He's Executive Director of the Northern Nevada Development Authority, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday. Trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're pleased to welcome to the program for the first time Jeff Sutich. He is the Executive Director of the Northern Nevada Development Authority. Before we get into that kind of stuff, the morning we're taping this, which is December 4th, South Korea has been going through some crazy times here in the last 24 hours, and with martial law being declared. You have a connection to South Korea. Tell us what you've been hearing.
So this morning was very interesting. Thank you for having me on the show, by the way.
You're very welcome.
Big fan. I've been watching you for a long time, so it's exciting to be on the other side of the camera on it.
You're welcome.
I woke up this morning and my Facebook and Instagram were blown up from friends of mine in South Korea. I lived in Guam for a little bit and taught windsurfing lessons over there, graduated during the Great Recession, and so was looking for a job, and so went over to Guam and had roommates from South Korea and got integrated into a pretty strong South Korean community over there and have kept in touch with them over the years. They've all moved on to different roles in their life, different jobs and leadership roles, and they are not happy. My friends that are dealing with it were shocked, like basically saying, we're not North Korea, we're South Korea. We've got democracy, and we're not going to go back to 40 years ago when we were under martial law and run by the military. And so they are standing up and making sure that they don't go back in time and that they continue to be a democracy. And
what precipitated this? Because that's the part of the story that I haven't really gotten yet. Do you understand why this guy decided that, he was going to, because he's got total opposition, 100% opposition from the parliamentary process.
So my understanding, and it's just speculation from what I've heard, is he's extremely unpopular.
Yes.
And because of that, I think, maybe less than 20% of the population is in favor of what he's doing anyway. And because of that, it seems to me as it's a last-ditch effort to maintain his position. He's saying it's because of North Korea infiltrating the government and going to put a stop to it, but I think he's losing power, and this was a a last-ditch effort to try and keep that power, and they're not standing for it.
You know, what's really shocking is that this is our huge ally
Yeah.
in Southeast Asia, and for this to happen seemingly out of the blue, it would be like, you know, the leader of Taiwan suddenly saying, yeah, we want China to take over. I mean, it seemed like as big a shock as that.
It was an interesting morning to wake up to that, and definitely to my friends over there, them waking up to that and living it, and they're not going to stand for it.
Okay. All right. Let's turn to things back in the U.S. But thanks for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
So, Northern Nevada Development Authority. First of all, if you wouldn't mind, explain the difference between you and the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada, and you know the Governor's Office of Economic Development. How do all these things interplay, and who do you represent?
So in 2012, so I'm going to jump back. 2011 was kind of close to where I started my career. I started as a labor economist with Dieter, and then I moved over to the Nevada Commission of Economic Development, and I interned for them prior to going into the workforce for the global trade director there. So he reached out to me and had me invited me to come over and be on his team again, but in a more workforce role. And so at that point in time, it was under the Lieutenant Governor, Brian Krilicki, and
Who I love, by the way.
Smart man. It was
The nicest guy.
when I didn't interact with him too much. I went to a couple board meetings where I'd have to represent the global trade side when my boss, Al DiStefano, was overseas helping Nevada companies meet new buyers. And the questions he would ask and how he would just analyze everything on the spot was very impressive on me. So didn't interact with him too much, but I could tell that he knew his stuff, and he was quick to ask good questions and push what was right. So
Right.
I did appreciate that early on in my career. In 2012, it transitioned over into the Governor's Office of Economic Development. And soon after that, I was there for a bit of that time. And then near the end of that year, I was invited to go over to the Department of Agriculture to help build a global trade and economic development program there. But to get back to your question, Commission of Economic Development turned into the Governor's Office of Economic Development. And I think there was 10 or 11 regional development authorities at that time that supported economic development within their regions. Fast forward to today, there's 8 regional development authorities, and each one of us are responsible of supporting economic, workforce, and business development efforts within our regions. We may not do it exactly, so I don't get in the weeds on workforce development, but I would, if someone has that need, I will introduce them to the resources that exist to do workforce development. So we're that one-stop shop to help businesses and guide them to better serve them and their needs so that they're successful.
Okay, and what counties do you represent?
So we represent Story County, Lyon County, Carson, Douglas County, and Mineral County. So basically everywhere around Washoe County. So that's the region that we operate in.
Okay, I've never seen anything like it in my life. The explosion of business activity and of companies wanting to come to Northern Nevada. Obviously, not only I think Southern Nevada is looking at us, but the whole country is looking at us going, how are we doing this? The line continues, right? I mean, it seems like it's a nonstop line of people who want to come here.
Yeah, it's great. It's a product of kind of the times, and also a lot of hard work, boots on the ground, support and marketing that effort. Back in 2011, when I was a labor economist, kind of the every time we would do a report, it was, well, we didn't lose as many jobs this month, and it was mainly in construction. Then a lot of difficult laws were passed in California, making it more difficult for companies to do business there, making it more expensive. And at that same time, there was a good effort within the state to try to court Tesla to come to Nevada. And so those couple groups that were a part of that really did a good job getting them here, and then that helped with the marketing of it. And it kind of opened it up for, okay, well, business is open in Nevada, and how can we, or what's going on there, and how can we participate in that? And it just kind of snowballed down the hill companies coming and coming due to learning the tax-friendly climate and due to learning, they're within a day's drive of everything we need to do, be it getting access to products for their widgets or their ingredients to manufacture their product, to sending it into California to access their customers, or even to the ports to get it overseas. Like, this is a great place to do business because it's a lot cheaper, and even if we have to pay a little bit extra for shipping, it's still cheaper to get it to our end user by being there, and it's a business-friendly climate.
You know, what's funny about this is that this wasn't a new idea. The TRI, as it's now called, was originally called the Azamara Ranch, or at least one of its previous incarnations. Mm-hmm. And I remember people coming to me, literally to my house in the 80s, and showing me maps of the Azamara Ranch and saying, well, you know, it's right next to Highway 80, it's near Highway 50, the railroad is there, it's within a day and a half of every place on the West Coast. This would be a fabulous place to do this economic development project, put in an industrial park, but nobody had the money to do it at that time. Uh-huh. And so, yes, it started a little earlier than Tesla, because Lance Gilman and Roger Norman put this together in 1998, was the beginnings of TRI when they purchased 2/3 of Story County. Purchased it, they didn't ask the state to give it to them. That was another story, right? But it took a while. They thought that the Walmart distribution center, which was their first huge gain, would bring all the other purveyors to Walmart. That didn't really work out. But then when they worked along with the airport, the Reno airport, to get Tesla, and it was originally supposed to go to Southern Nevada, as I'm sure you know. And
yeah, they were looking at a couple different sites.
Yeah, Apex was one of them. And they weren't interested in that because they didn't have all the resources there that TRI had already put in place. And then they were so curious because there was an incredible offer made, and I'm not going to go into details on that, for them to come and see Northern Nevada. And they turned down the offer that was made, but was so curious as to why that offer had been made that they came anyway. And it was like, well, you can start grading today.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, they did a great job. The team back then, it was... do you want me to get into the story of it? Or?
No. Okay. I think that we've covered the story, I think, enough on the program.
Okay.
And Story County and TRI have been big supporters of this program all the way through, I mean, going back to 2005.
Yeah, very business-friendly. Great county to work with.
Yeah, amazing. So there are lots and lots of people that want to come here. You're a former, by the way, NV Energy person as well, correct?
Yep.
And so one of the issues now is, power generation. And I'm not laying any blame on NV Energy, they're one of our supporters. But the companies that are coming, especially these data storage companies, need vast amounts of energy. What do you see?
No one saw it coming. No one could have prepared for this. When I left NV Energy 3 years ago, Greenlink had just been approved, and
this is the transmission lines.
Yep. So back then it was a transmission line from Ely to Yerington on a 525 kV line, and then from Vegas to Yerington at the Fort Churchill substation, and then from there it was going to splinter off 2 or 3 340 kV lines into the region. And we were capacity constrained at the time. There was enough capacity to serve our customers, but if you were a solar developer and you wanted to build solar and sell it out of state into California to make a bigger profit, there wasn't enough capacity for that. So this was going to help bring in the capacity needed for all of our growth for a long time, at least a decade, I would guess. Well, in the 3 years since I've left, AI's taken off, and it's changed the dynamic completely. There's no way anyone could have prepared for this, but it's here now, and so what do we do?
Well, this brings up, this was a question that was given to me last night, which is, why does AI require so much power?
So I don't know AI as much as blockchain-related stuff. Blockchain was the big power user coming in when I was there, and so I studied it and learned it, and now I'm drinking that Kool-Aid, but mining it in my garage. But the amount of data that's needed to process how it's done is huge. And so the data center machines, they're big machines, are progressively getting more and more efficient, so more and more computational ability in each of those machines. And as they get more and more into that, it has to use more electricity for it to work. And
so basically more servers require more power.
They do, and you can get more servers per rack, more of these data center machines per rack than you used to before too. So even within the same footprint of a building, you can double, triple, quadruple that amount of computational power or storage ability, but it requires more electricity. So the footprint's getting smaller, but the amount of power is going up.
And then also the redundancy factor. Microsoft, I understand, is looking at 3 locations to be able to power their next phase in Northern Nevada because they need the redundancy. So that triples the amount of power that they need,
Yep.
I presume.
It could be. I can't talk on that one because of an NDA.
Yeah.
But companies coming in to have redundancy, sometimes they'll have multiple sites, and that's just in case on both fiber and the electricity side. Having that redundancy is, they'll need it in case something goes wrong with one center, the other ones can cover that load.
Well, and the reality is that companies like Switch, for example, have huge government contracts with, CIA, Pentagon, all these other, they can't afford to be down, not even for 1 second. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back more with Jeff Sutich after this timeout.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
Story County is leading Nevada. Home of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, Google, Tesla, Panasonic, and other world-leading companies. Story County provides thousands of tech, advanced manufacturing, and logistics careers for Nevadans. We're diversifying and driving Nevada's economy and generating millions in tax revenue and billions in economic activity across northern Nevada. Story County is leading Nevada's future.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Jeff Sutich. He is the Executive Director of the Northern Nevada Development Authority. We spoke prior to taping, and you were talking about a lot of interest from international companies wanting to come to Nevada.
Yes.
Without giving away names of companies, can you tell us what kind of industries are looking at us?
Manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, there's a lot of interest there. Through kind of the lithium loop process, a lot of companies within that industry sector, that more green energy side of things, and data centers, lots and lots of data centers.
And that's because we have plenty of relatively cheap land. But the power, it's going to be interesting to see how, and I'm going to invite Doug Cannon from NV Energy to come on the program and talk about this. I mean, the amount of power that we need to generate is so substantial that, I mean, it's almost like Project Greenlink, which is not online yet, is already oversold.
Yeah. So Doug can speak much, much better to this than I am. Every month I've been away from the power company. I become more obsolete with my knowledge.
Of course.
But it took us, 150 years or so to get to, and I'm going to get the numbers wrong, something around 1.8 gigawatts of power in the north. In the 3 years since I've left, I believe they've got 2 to 4 gigawatts of power signed for to serve a customer. So we've more than doubled in 3 years what took us 150 years to get to. And then there's, I think, 10 plus gigawatts in the queue of companies interested in getting power. So there's a huge amount of demand coming to the area. And so it takes time to build, and it's expensive to build right now. So you're playing catch up. When there's this much demand hits and there's no way to prepare for it in the future, back then, what do? You got to play catch up and then start preparing for the future of this new reality of electricity.
And also the supply chain. I mean, we still have not caught up in that area.
Yeah. I was talking to a large transformer manufacturing company, trying to get them to come here. They're out of Japan, and basically asked them, why wouldn't you build these left and right? And their comment was, we would if we could. It's a workforce constraint. We can't build it until the workforce exists. So we're building a couple in the U.S., but we're building them in markets that have the workforce education that we can roll into a plant like this. If you guys build the workforce, we'll come.
In the construction industry, they tend to move from one area to another depending on where the work is. If there's no work in a place, they go to the place where the work is. Mm-hmm. They're not going to stay in a place where there's no work. They're too active. So, do we need to import that force?
We have to.
Is there a force available somewhere that is not doing as well that we could get?
It's a dynamic we're going to be dealing with over the next 20 years or so. Are you okay with me going down a workforce rabbit hole?
Yeah, sure.
So looking at the numbers right now, we're in the U.S. we're 400,000 to 500,000 jobs short in the labor market for what our current demands are. In the developing and advanced developing worlds, there's only 3 countries that are currently growing. It's New Zealand, France, and the U.S. So we're one of those countries that are growing. It's a small amount, not huge, but we still have a growing labor force and a growing population, and we're right now 500,000 jobs short for the labor market. Fast forward, our baby boomers, our Generation X, our baby boomers retiring, Generation X couldn't fill the void. Millennials can't fill the void. Zers can't fill the void. Not until Generation Alpha, our mini millennials, come into play are we going to start filling this workforce gap with the baby boomers retiring. And so that's 15, 20 years out until my kids are in the workforce when it starts going the opposite direction. So we're going to peak, it looks like, around 1 to 1.2 million jobs short, and it's each year this is going to build on each other until it starts turning around. So we're going to be in this workforce crunch for the next 15, 20 years until that changes. Knowing that, there's not enough workers to go around in any of these industries with what we're home growing, so you have to import them in to fill that void.
All right, let's take another break and we'll be right back. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Fantastic cocktails and delicious food.
It's a good time to eat.
Over 500 hot slots, plus electronic table games.
It's a good time to play.
Player rewards and big-time jackpots.
It's a good time to win.
Ooh, your good times are tamarind.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Jeff Sutich. He is the Executive Director of the Northern Nevada Development Authority. At this point, is solar really an answer for the amount of power we need to generate?
I would say it's a part of the equation, but it's not the answer. You have to build a lot of solar to meet the demand that's needed. It has to be a mix of all generation sources: geothermal, natural gas, solar,
fusion.
I would argue that. I would say that it's something that we should definitely look at. It's got to be a part of the equation for us to be able to meet this demand. You can't import it all. You have to be able to generate it yourself. Hydro's huge, but we don't have a lot of that here, especially in the north.
Yeah, especially on the Reese River Valley.
Yeah.
The water there in the Reese River, not that deep,
Yeah.
about 4 inches in a wet year.
Yeah.
And that's where we have to leave it. Jeff Sutich, thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And we'll be right back.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
We wouldn't steer you wrong with the gold standard of steaks at Joel's Chop House. Indulge in dry-aged steaks, seafood, Wagyu tomahawks, located on the second floor, and great views of the Strip.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Here on 7 at 7, we're bringing you the local headlines in just 7 minutes.
We've got you covered in the morning, evening, and for all breaking news, in between, and as it happens.
Life is busy, and we don't waste your time. Join us for local news now streaming on our YouTube page.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. We'll see you on the next broadcast.